lovely Floss Tube friends, welcome back to the channel. A very, very warm welcomes to you all. I know the plan was to get a video up at the end of September and it didn't happen. And in all fairness, today never nearly happened. It is now 6:15 at night. The plan was to get up this morning, take my mum out, go do some fun things with mum, and then do the video. And would you believe it, I was up last night with a temperature, a headache, a bit of a sore throat, and today I've spent most of it in bed with the same headache and with the same temperature. But the paracetamol seemed to be getting it under control, so I'm like, if I don't do this video now, it won't happen. So we have an additional 133 new subscribers to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, and I hope you like what you see. Now, I confess, people, not much has changed since the last time I spoke to you as far as how much stitching I'm getting done. Now, I'm not sure whether... I don't think I can say I've lost my stitchy bug, because I want to do the stitching. So that can't be losing the stitchy bug, right? I don't know. Maybe you tell me. Does that mean that my stitchy bug is waning away? Literally, the only stitching that I've managed to get done is a very, very token gesture amount, what I've got done on the trains. But when I'm coming home from work, I'm either too tired or there's just been too many things going on. Obviously, as we go through this video, I'll update you on all the things that have happened, that have been happening, and yeah, at the end we'll talk about what the plan is, if I can call it a plan. So first of all, what have I been doing whilst I've been missing in action? And I have missed you all. I've missed doing these videos. I'm probably really out of sync with doing them now as well, which is making it even harder to want to do them, because yeah, you sort of get into a flow when you start doing them. Part of my plans, I think, part of my, this is what I'm going to have to do because I'm so busy, was focus on my Christmas stitching. Now, I don't know whether, because I'm doing gifts for Christmas, whether that has made it so that I'm not quite so eager, let's say. I'm not so eager to do the stitching because I'm like... it's more Christmas stitching and not get into the projects that I really, really want to get to. But that said, it's not like I haven't done my Christmas stitching, because some of it has actually been really quite convenient given the state of play. So we have a house full of activity going on today. That's one of the reasons that I like to do these videos first thing in the morning, because everybody else is still very much in bed and I'm the only one that's awake. The girls are in full action mode. Lauren is cooking dinner. Ben is doing Ben stuff. So if you hear some stuff in the background, I'm sorry. It's a hive of activity on a Saturday night round at my house. As far as what I've managed to get stitched, now I'm looking at my notes over here, because if I don't refer to them, I'm going to forget absolutely everything. So the stitching that I have managed to get done, like I say, to me, it feels like it's negligible. This Christmas stitching, I think, is the reason, because there's nothing worse than having the feeling that you have to stitch on something because you need to get it done. But that's not what's tugging at my heartstrings. Now, I don't know if it's that or just I've genuinely been too busy, and all incentive of actually sitting and doing some stitching is just, it's a bit of a put off. I'm not sure. For those of you that have ever lost your stitchy bug, tell me. Is it that you just don't want to stitch, or you just don't, or is it just that you haven't got the mojo to stitch, but you still sort of want to stitch? Because that's where I'm at. I want to do the stitching, but every time I'm coming home and I'm thinking, right, now's the time to sit and do some stitching, either I'm busy doing something else. We're already at take 5 of this video because my daughter is out there supposedly chopping dinner. It sounds like she's trying to smash her way through my worktop, but we're not even going to go there because I'm not cooking dinner. She is. So I'm going to leave her to do that. Right, back to the stitching. I keep saying I'm going to talk to you about stitching, and I keep talking to you about everything that's going on in my life, in and around me right here, right now. This video is real. It's a real video. Okay, so for those of you that have lost your stitchy bugs, I'm not sure whether that means that you just don't even want to stitch, and it doesn't, you know, you don't miss it, you don't want to do it, or is it just that you just haven't got the inclination to do it? Because that's where I'm at. It's not that I don't want to stitch, In fact, I think that's one of the reasons that I feel not stressed out, because that's the wrong word, but I feel like, ugh, because part of my stitching, I think, is what sort of relaxes me, keeps me in my happy spot. And I don't really feel like I've been there for a while now. And I know I've had a lot going on at home and I've had a lot going on at work, but even so, back in the day, I could be raced off my feet and still manage to get my stitching done, or at least something. So I'm not sure whether it's that I've sort of forced myself into this. I need to get my Christmas finishes done ahead of Christmas so that I'm not rushing then, and whether that's put me off my stitching, or whether I'm just struggling to find the time for stitching. And even if I wasn't doing my Christmas stuff, whether I would actually do any stitching. I mean, the proof will be in the pudding, because when I finally get these Christmas finishes finished and I've got my actual stitching to do, it's going to be interesting to see whether I actually achieve much. So what have I achieved? I have achieved some stitching, and I have done some of my Christmas finishes as far as the actual stitching. There's very little on the FFO side. So first up, we have got the Annie B's Folk Art Let's Go Sledging. It's a booklet that's got 12 sledge ornaments in it. I've got the sledges at the ready, and we've got to do this the right way. Here is where I've got to. Now I just need to get the camera to focus on it. There we go. So the plan for these is one of my colleagues at work. There's her, her husband and 2 children. So I thought I would do 4 little sledges that they can hang on their Christmas tree. So we've got one for Joy. We've got, I think this one was sort of getting close to a finish the last time you saw this. We have Ho Ho Ho. We have a little reindeer, which is not quite finished yet. It's a work in progress. There we go. So I've just got this bit around that outside to do just here. A string of stuff there, and then, yeah, I'm not quite sure what else is going on there. Some other, I think there's like a string of what looks like lights that are going to go in the middle. So I've got almost 3 of the 4 done. And then I've got one final one, which is not started. But like I say, it's not that I've not been doing any stitching. It's just everything I'm doing is like tiny little, I mean, you should have those done within like a day and a half, surely. And these are taking me weeks and weeks and weeks to do. That must be like the slowest stitcher in history now. So as far as what I've been stitching on going in and out of work, and those sorts of things, that's pretty much that. I know, it's shocking. In the last few days, I have actually managed to get a bit of stitching on my alternative reality. Again, where I've got pictures of where you last saw things, I will put that in here so you can see. But this was like literally token gesture. I just decided, because I so didn't want to do any stitching, because the thought of picking up another little sledge was just like, ugh. I was like, I can't think of anything worse right now. So I thought, well, I seem to be spending less and less time actually sitting my butt on a chair and doing stitching. So I thought, well, maybe part of it is I need to get some stitching out and just give myself some therapy and have a go at one of my bigger projects and see how I get on. Now, I did actually spend an hour on this one evening during the week after work. And I was like, it was quite nice. But then by the time I sort of, had dinner and then it was like, I've got to take the girls out, and that's fun because Bonbons is no longer 𝙬𝙤𝙖𝙥𝙥𝙚 kid, but because of that, and it's been so long since she's been going out, she's absolutely terrible when you take her out for a walk, especially since she's supposed to be taking it easy. But more about Bonbons towards the end of the video, because I appreciate not everyone wants to hear the dramas of our life here. I basically did, where did I do? I think I did about here. So I did a spot of stitching about there, and I don't even think I got 100 stitches. I might have got 100 stitches, but not much more than 100 stitches. It was literally just a token gesture around this bit. I would love to sit here and tell you that I'm going to now sort of, pull her out and work on her, but she's on the frame. She's there waiting and ready. It's just, like I say, the plan was to sort of sit and do some, you know, do this video earlier this morning after I took my mum out. And then sit and have a day of stitching and do a video. That was the plan. And none of that happened because I felt so dreadful. I spent my entire day in bed, fast asleep. I think I got up about 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock I got up. Yeah, that sucks. I'm like, really? There's me sitting there going, once summer's over and, you know, the autumn weather comes, I'll get more stitchy time in and I'll be sitting on the sofa. But reality check, Teresa, you spend time in bed because you're sick, because you got germs. What else have I stitched on, people? It's, like I say, this is all negligible stuff, isn't it? So last time I spoke to you, I was heading off to the Essex Needles Retreat from the 15th to the 17th of September. The problem when it comes to the Essex Needles Retreat ones is because Elaine and I are the ones that organise it. You always feel that you've got to do, you know, the room. I always do the videoing. That takes a lot of time up. We played bingo. What else did we do? We done a pass the parcel type thing. So by the time you've done all that, although everyone has so much fun and I have so much fun because I spent all my time talking to people, I don't ever really sit down and do much stitching myself. So needless to say, very little stitching happened on my part at the retreat. But I did do the video, so if you haven't seen that, I'll link that up here. I'll link that video where I done around the room so you can see what everybody else stitched, because yeah, I haven't got much to show for it, that's for sure. But what I did have to show for it, I had a new start. It was a planned new start, and as much as I would like to say that I was prepared for the new start, I really wasn't. I really wasn't. And the new start is the 𝙬𝙤𝙤𝙬 Family Farm Afghan. Here it is. She says, if I can get it without a glare. So that is what it will look like when it's finished. She says, look at the size of it. It's huge. And I made a start on it. Now, the plan, you got to love a Teresa plan, right? The plan was that I was going to get this all sort of the edges, I say serged, but as in zigzagged, just so that it wouldn't fray to pieces before I started it, and get all the threads ready. None of that really happened, I'll be honest. So literally I threw the whole thing in the bag and I was off. So needless to say, we've got loads of stragglies. Another one of my plans for this weekend was to get the sewing machine. I mean, I wouldn't mind, but I don't even have to get the sewing machine out anymore, because now that I've sorted out the room a little bit more, although it looks a bit more like a tip on that side of the room, I just have to literally pull the sewing machine forwards and do the zigzag. And I haven't even managed to do that, which is really quite poor on my part. But I will plan to do that this weekend. At some point this weekend, I'm going to do it, because otherwise I can just see this fraying into, I mean, it's fraying in massive amounts already. Look, there's bits hanging off everywhere. So I need to do that. But this is where I got to. So it's not too shabby, she says. I did some of this whilst I was at the Essex Needles Retreat. And the rest of it I've been doing up in the bedroom today while I was feeling quite sorry for myself and watching Floss Tube. Because that's another thing that I've not done. I've not been watching any Floss Tube. Yeah, I need to get back to it, because I tend to find that you all sort of make me want to stitch more. I start seeing all the goodness and then I'm like, oh, I need to do something. So I sat and done some stitching. So yeah, we've made a start. Lots of sky. And I think this whole square is going to be sky. But because of the way the pattern is, she says, let me share with you the pattern again. Come on, camera. So you can see at the top, it's all very much sky. But then obviously as you go down sort of over here, there's a bit more. So I do have a plan for this one, she says. So given that that is the fabric, I'm going to try and do it in blocks, in zigzags, the same way as I do my full coverage. So obviously I'm starting in my top left, and then I'll stitch this block, and then I'll come down and do this block, and then I'll come across and do this block, and then I'll put it on like a diagonal. So I'll do block by block in diagonal, so that I'm just not all stitching across the top and stitching all of the white and the blue, because I think I'm going to get pretty bored just stitching all that blue and white at the top. She says, let me move it where you can see it. There you go. Look, there is a lot of blue and white along the top here. And I think that would sort of put me off, in all fairness. So I have a plan. And I think the blue and white it'll be much better in bite-sized chunks. But I don't think I've done too badly on that. I was quite impressed. And I love the fact that it's like a massive, great big blanket. I love that bit because it just keeps me warm. I have not tried the whole stitching in hand. So what I've done is basically one of the little, now I can't remember whether this is an 8x8 or a 9x9 Q-snap, but it sort of fits the block quite well. So what I do is I hold it like this. I mean, when I've got more fabric that rolls over the top, I think I might need to come up with a plan of rolling it and attaching it, so that it doesn't all get in my way. But at the moment, stitching on this block is working out fine for me. So yeah, so we've made a start. So we have a new start. And like I say, I started that at the Essex Needles retreat. I think I started it on the Sunday. So that would be Sunday she says, Sunday the 17th of September. That one was started. And it's just, yeah, you can see how well I look after that. It's just a hot, scrumpled mess. But hey, I've stitched something, right? That's how I'm selling it to me. So that is pretty much the grand sum total of my stitching since we spoke. Yeah, I know it's very poor. Very poor. So one of the most exciting bits about going to the Essex Needles retreat was that my very good friend Susie had agreed to FFO my stocking for my boss for me. And she had it ready for me to collect. So I have to show this. You know when you're just like, oh wow, that turned out so much better than I thought it was going to be. Not that I thought it was going to be bad. I just didn't expect it to be quite so wonderful. So here it is in all its glory. Look, would you look at that? And you know when it's like, when you stitch on something like this for a man, it's a bit different if it's for a lady, because you can sort of get away with pretty much any fabric you like, I think, on the back and inside. But when it's a man, it was like, I need to make sure that it stays masculine. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And I think the fabric works perfectly. So we finished it with like a berry finish. It's got the little tag. And then on the inside, that is the inside colours that I decided on. It's just, I think the colours work so well because it complements all of the green and all of the blue. So that is now ready to give to my boss. So happy with that. So happy. It's, yeah. You know, when it's just like, I need to do more of these stockings, because I must admit, when I stitched this, I had an absolute ball stitching that. So that is now ready and finished for my boss. Also for my boss, my lovely friend Anne. She's like my magic sock lady. I'd said to her, is there any chance you can stitch some socks for me? She was like, of course. Let me know what you want. Pick your wool. So she has done a lovely pair of socks for him, for Christmas. So I'm going to put that as like a little parcel in his stocking, because the stocking really is his leaving gift, and the socks are really for Christmas. So, and since the plans at work have changed somewhat, which I'll talk about. I'll talk about towards the end of the video, because like I say, It's a whole lot of Teresa's life going on again. So I was so happy with that. I could not thank Susie more for that, because yeah, that turned out wonderfully. She is a very talented lady, and I am very appreciative about the fact that she done that for me, rather than me ever having to try and tackle finishing something. It'd be a bit different if it was something that I was finishing for like my family or myself, but the fact that it was for my boss, yeah, that was nerve-wracking. Just the thought of even touching it other than stitching it. Also, whilst I was at the Essex Needles retreat, there was a few people that wanted to stitch on some of my trees of my evening in the park. So although I didn't stitch anything on evening in the park, some very lovely ladies did. So for the first time in a long time, it's off of its bars, so you get to see it in its fullness, she says. And yeah, what can I say? I need to get back to this, don't I? I need to get back to something. So here it is. It's just so gorgeously wonderful, right? But it does need to be in a frame now. I'm done with this. Right, so where did we get to? So I stitched all of these bits, and then when it came to the trees, she says, where's the trees? Let me fold it up. So the lovely ladies stitched, she says, I'm trying to work out where the camera is here. They stitched the trees for me here and here. So that's 2 less trees to worry about. But what did happen, which I was kicking myself, was that when they agreed to stitch the trees, they started stitching the trees only to find out that we'd run out of one of the threads that was needed for the tree. So they could only stitch some of the trees, which is not a big deal, because you know the majority of the tree is stitched, although I would have liked it if they'd have done the back stitch bit, because that's the bit that I hate more than anything in the world, I think. But the main background of the trees is done. I'll just have to do the back stitch. But what I have done is I have now ordered the threads through Lakeside Needlecrafts to get the rest of the thread, so that people can actually stitch the whole tree rather than just the back part of the tree. Now, I am off to... This is one of the reasons that this video had to go up today, or it had to be recorded today, because I am off to the 𝙬𝙝𝙖𝙥𝙥𝙚 retreat. I think it's my last like weekend retreat that I've got booked now for the rest of this year, which is from the 20th to the 22nd of October. So next weekend, actually it's next Friday, this Friday coming. And it's the 𝙬𝙝𝙖𝙥𝙥𝙚 retreat, where there's a number of ladies that agreed that they would stitch a tree. So I need the threads, because there's a fair few of them that agreed to stitch a tree. And it's like, well, if I don't turn up with the project and I don't turn up with threads, I can't stitch my trees. And I'm trying to work out. So she says, this is where we're at in total. So there is another, let me see, just trying to work out how many trees. So the 2 trees are done there. So we've got 2, 4, 6. So there's 6 more trees, she says. There's 6 more trees to go in this project. So I'm hoping that there's 6 ladies that want to stitch on some trees, or at least to get rid of 4 of them. If all I've got to do is 2 more trees myself, I don't think it'd be quite so bad. But it would be nice to get at least another 4 trees stitched. And then all I need to worry about is the lanterns, the snowy bits, the other corner. Yeah. It could be close then, couldn't it? So I'm hoping. Now I'll be honest, I ordered the threads from Lakeside Needlecrafts over a week ago. she says, I think over a week ago, and they've still not arrived. And you know, when you're just like, I remember the days when I used to be able to order from the places like Lakeside Needlecrafts, and I would get my delivery within 3 days. And given that I only ordered 2 threads, I'm like, it's taken a long time to get here. But hopefully they will be here by Thursday. Because if they're not here by Thursday, then there will be no trees being stitched. So yeah, I'm hopeful. But once the trees are done, and I actually get back to some stitching in my life, then I think I'm going to have to make a conscious effort of making sure that Evening in the Park gets stitched on, like, I don't know, at least sort of a week or 2 weeks in a rotation where it gets pulled out and stitched on for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days every 2 weeks or something like that, because otherwise it's never going to be finished. And it's getting so close. But don't you find that when you've worked on a really big project and you've done the majority of it, the closer you get to the end, although you really, really want to get it finished, you sort of slow down a little bit. Or at least that's what I find. I find with all of my projects, I get them to like 75%, and then all of a sudden I go on like a go slow. Not that I'm bored of them. It's just that I'm sitting there thinking, oh, they're so close. But then you stitch on it for a couple of hours and it's like, well, I say I'm so close, but I'm still so far away. It feels like a long time. So yeah, so that is it really for the stitching side of stuff. That's it. What to tell you. So as far as Christmas stitching, what have I got left that I have to stitch to make it so that all of my Christmas stitching is done and complete? I've got one more of the sledges to do, and I've still got 2 Christmas crackers that need to be done. They are the Victoria Sampler Christmas crackers. So I've got 2 of those to do, and then I think I'm done with that. So as soon as I finish this last sledge, then I can work on the Christmas crackers, and then I can just do, like, I don't know, some sort of FFO finishing weekend where I basically FFO them all and have them all at the ready. But I do have a deadline now. So our Christmas lunch, or our holiday lunch, is scheduled, I think, for the 12th of December. And the likelihoods are that is likely to be the guaranteed last time that I'll see my current boss, or I say my current boss. It'll be the last time that I actually see the boss that I've been looking after for the last 8 years. So I've made the decision that because there's other days and people are going on like leave earlier and whatever, it might be best if that's the day that we're all going to be together for the holiday lunch. So that will be the day that I give them all the Christmas presents. So that's the deadline. The deadline is the 12th of December, which 2 Christmas crackers I should be able to manage, she says, even though it's, where are we now? It's the 14th of October today. Yeah. I'm hoping that the Christmas crackers go faster than the sledges, let's put it like that. But there is some light at the end of the tunnel. So, and I need to have them done, FFO'd, boxed up and looking all pretty by the 12th of December. And then from that point onwards, there's no more Christmas stitching. I did have these wonderful thoughts back earlier on in the year that I was going to stitch on loads of Christmas ornament things through the summer, and I was thinking, I'll get all my Christmas stuff done for my gifts, and then I can stitch some for myself. And yet again, another year of stitching lots of Christmassy things for everybody else, and there's not one for me, and there's not even one for any member of my family, which is, yeah, I think I need to rethink that. I really do. What else is there? I done the LT offsite. It was massively busy. It was a lot of hard work. Then, because this is where the problem came in. So I had the Essex Needles retreat, which was the 15th of September to the 17th of September. I came home on the 17th, which was the Sunday. unpacked my bag, repacked another bag, and I went off to the LT offsite on the Monday morning. So then I was at the LT offsite and away in a hotel from Monday to Thursday. The drive home was horrific. So what should have really been an hour and a half turned in like to a 3-hour journey home in the car. I drove home on the Thursday night. I had a couple of appointments on the Friday, and I had to unpack that bag, repack another bag, and go to bed really early because we flew off to Egypt on the Saturday morning for my birthday. That didn't go according to plan either. So the reason that we went to the certain hotel that we went to in Egypt was because it was my birthday, and we went to a place where it was all inclusive. It had, I think it was something like between 8 and 11 a la carte restaurants. So it was like we can eat something different every night. We don't need to eat in the buffet or anything like that. And it was supposed to have been all swanky and wonderful. Yeah, about that. So we flew out on the Saturday morning, and by the Saturday night when we got there, I was already sick with upset stomach. And I was like that until the Thursday. So yeah, I didn't do much as far, well, we didn't eat in any of the a la cartes. That's how bad it was. We barely went to the buffet. My husband went a couple of times, but then blow me, he got sick by the Wednesday. So then we was both sick. By the Thursday, I was starting to get better, but I had to be very, very careful about what I ate. Unfortunately for him, he was still sick, and we was both still not right for about the first week that we were back from holiday as well. So yeah, you know, when you just like, well, that didn't quite go according to plan. But I've never been so happy to come home in my life. You know, to have 2 people with upset stomach in a hotel room with 1 bathroom. It was, yeah, it wasn't fun, people. It wasn't fun. But I must admit, it's the first time I've ever been so happy to come home, ever. And then I've been home for a couple of weeks. It's been super busy with work. Loads, I literally, on the Monday when I was working from home, I was thinking, okay, I just need to get to the middle of October. I'm going to not lose one boss, but he's going to take a real serious step back. And then, you know, I'll be, you know, work will be much easier. All of that turned on its head, and I got a bit of a shock on the Monday. But I'll tell you about that at the end of this, because whilst I was at the Essex Needles retreat, of course, there was some purchasing. And since I last saw you, there's been things. There's gifts, there's things. So at the Essex Needles retreat, the lovely Marianne came over from the USA. She is an absolute delight. She was on my video, we was chatting, but love her. She done some gifts for me whilst I was at the Essex Needles retreat. And she made me some bits. So she's such a sweetheart. So she knows how much I love my dancing. So she made me this very, very cute stitching. It's got me and Darren. She says, if I can get it to focus. There we go. Focus. So obviously this is me. This is Darren. In a little box, and then inside the box we've got some very, very lovely beads, and then we have got some gorgeous threads. There's like a whole selection. They look like Krynic, and there we go. Oh, she says, keep dropping them on the floor. And some beautiful, beautiful threads. How gorgeous are they? Love, love, love. Marianne, you are an absolute love. Absolute love. And it was a total pleasure meeting you. I hope we get the opportunity to have you come over again. But also in there, she says, the box came in this little pretty, look at this little pretty bag. And it's got a flamingo, pink flamingo, sparkly needle minder. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Thank you so, so much. So some goodies. and some gifts at the retreat. What else at the retreat? Also, we done a raffle type thing at the retreat. I didn't win this because I don't win anything, but somebody else did. And because I love birdhouses so much, and apparently she said it's lovely, she said, but I wouldn't make it. And it is a paint your own birdhouse. So she gave it to me. So I'm going to paint up the birdhouse, and yeah, I can do that. I can paint up the birdhouse, and then I will have the birdhouse hanging up for next spring. Likelihoods of me getting to it this year are extremely slim because I don't seem to be able to get to anything this year. So there's that. Also, we did a it was like a pass the parcel type game. It's called the left and right game. So there's a story that you tell. I made the story up. And as part of the story, you say left and right. And each time you say left or right, the parcels have to be moved to the left or they have to be moved to the right so that no one gets their own parcel. I got in my package, I got a roses kit. Lucy S. Quality for Everyone. I think it's a Russian kit. I have no idea. I have no idea. But this is the one that I got. Now, as much as I love a good, a good bit of stitching, the likelihoods of me stitching this are extremely slim. One, because it's black and I can't seem to stitch on anything that's particularly dark. I mean, I love the roses because you know how much I'm a bit of a rose lover. Love roses. Not sure I'd want to stitch roses on black, mind. So yeah, so I'm not sure whether I'll keep this or use this as a giveaway. I don't know. I'll have to have a little think about that. I need to do some stitching before I start thinking about what I'm going to do next. But yeah, but this, this was a lovely gift in the pass the parcel type game. Also, whilst I was at the Essex Needles retreat, I decided that I wanted to have a little go at crochet. She says. And I've promised the ladies, because they saw these lovely works of art, I promised the ladies that I would share them on my floss tube. And now that I'm looking at them, I'm like, I really don't want to put these up. And I know that I'm a beginner and I'm new at this, but even so, they shouldn't really look like this. So this is one that a friend done as a trying to help me make it, because I wanted to do all these little pretty squares and then turn it into like a lap blanket, and this is my effort. Now, don't even ask me what happened here. Not quite sure what happened there. It's not very square. There's a bit of tension issue. Think I've gone a bit wrong in places, and it's got a very big bobble. Where's the big bobble? There. I think I overdid the bobble on this side. Yeah. So I was like, do you know what? That might be a little bit too complicated to get started with. I love the colours. I love the idea of the little daisy designs, but the reality of actually doing it was a whole nother thing altogether. So she says, let me roll away. Hold on. So I had to rethink while I was there, because I'm like, well, if I've got someone to actually show me how to do it, I need to make sure that I know what I'm doing. But it's like, well, I'm never going to be able to do those squares on my own. I had enough trouble. That's how bad my square was, even with assistance. So I was like, well, I need to make sure that it's something that I can sort of do myself. So we picked a different design, and I made a very good start on it. And this one was so much easier, because I was like, oh, this is much easier. And this is supposed to be a bobble. I think I called it a popcorn heart blanket. So I've made a start on my popcorn blanket. I don't know if you can see this. There you go. There we go. These are going better, but the problem is now that I've not got anyone sat here with me, I've got so far, she says, there we go, I've got to here, and now I've forgotten where I'm at. and how to continue. So again, this is the problem with trying to learn something new when you haven't got someone on hand to just give you the guidance. So the idea is that these little squares are going to have hearts of these popcorn things on, and then I attach them all together. But I've got so far and now I'm stuck. So unless I can work out where I'm at, I'm going to have to wait probably till March next year, when I'm around someone that can show me what I need to do to get to where I know, and just to sort of revisit the what I learned type thing. I have looked at YouTube. I know lots of people have said look on YouTube, it's, you know, follow the, but it doesn't help me here and now. So yeah, I was rather looking forward to being able to just, like, if I'm not going to have time to do stitching, that I could sit and maybe do some crocheting to see whether at least I can do something. That's not going to work very well at the moment, is it? But what I did do was, whilst I was thinking, well, you know, I am going to use the wool, and I don't like to leave my wool like this, but it was already attached to my crochet like that, so I had to leave it like that. I decided to sort out the wool. So the two wools, that, because I'm going to do a square in each of the colours with the bubbles. And I love this colour, and I love this colour. As you can tell, I love that colour because I've got it on my nails. I'm going through a green theme at the moment. I don't know what it is with me, but I'm loving green. So yeah, so I thought, well, I can't do the crochet, but I can play with the balls of wool. So, or the balls of yarn. I don't know whether you're supposed to call it wool anymore or yarn. My nan always used to call it wool. Now all of a sudden it's yarn. So I don't know. Is that a new trend, or is it different, or is it the same? I have no idea. But yeah, do you like my little string bag? Little string bag. So anyway, that's the token gesture of my crochet. Like I say, one that's done by someone that knows what they're doing versus someone that doesn't really know what they're doing. And you can tell the difference in size, which I'm assuming is all down to the tension, which doesn't make any difference, because obviously if mine is bigger, my whole blankie will be bigger, but it still should look a little bit more square and a bit more like this one does. And mine's got this reminds me of my shawl that's got like an appendage. Now my squares have appendages as well. They've got little sticky outy bits and extra large boobly bits. Yeah, I might just have to accept that crochet and knitting are just not my bag. Don't seem to be very good at it, but I'm not giving up. But I do think I need like someone on tap to help me, at least in the very onset. What else? So whilst I was, sorry about the crinkle, it's a horrible bag. I'm sorry about that. Whilst I was at the retreat, Ellie said that she had a fabric for me that she thought I would love. She was never going to use it. I think she's doing a bit of de-stash because she's preparing to move, lover. I think she's moving. I think she's only got a week-ish to go, and she's officially going to move to North Wales, lover. So as part of her going through what she had, she found some fabric that she was like, I'm never going to stitch on it, Teresa. She said, but I think you would. And she's right. Would you look at this? Look at the colour of that. How gorgeous is that? So, yeah. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. So I was like, of course I can take that off your hands. So I had some fabric. Also, whilst I was at the retreat, Megan from Coffee Carve Fabrics was there. And you will know that back a few years ago, I started Elizabeth Weston Hands Across the Sea sampler for my birthday. Initially, I started it on a Tudor rose, which I loved the colour of, but I think it was only a 28 count or 32 count. And unfortunately, the squares looked too big. It was the perfect colour, but the wrong count. However, pole stitches who do the Tudor rose, I think only go up to a 32 count. And I needed at least a 36 count. So I basically decided it needed to be a restart. I ended up getting a different fabric, custom made from 𝙬𝙝𝙖𝙥𝙥𝙬𝙗 Designs. Started stitching it on a 36 count from 𝙬𝙗𝙥𝙥𝙬 Designs so that I could do it stitched 1/2 to make it smaller and more delicate looking. But unfortunately, the fabric colour's still not right because the cream is... Basically, you can't see the cream on the fabric. Where I've got pictures, I'll put some pictures in so you can see. But needless to say, that has not come out now for ages because I'm like, well, I don't really know what to do. And the thought of doing a restart for a third time is, yeah, this is sort of doesn't fill me with joy. Let's put it like that. Not filled with joy. However, whilst I was there was some fabric that Coffee Craft Fabrics was doing. It's an even weave 40 count. Now, the only thing that I need to check is that the size of this fabric is big enough because this is only a 27 by 30, which I think is big enough for a 40 count, but I'll need to check. If it is, I think I might have found the perfect fabric. Here it is. Let me take it out of its bag. Now, of course, the thought of stitching on 40 count doesn't fill me with joy. It really doesn't. But the fabric colour does. And it would be perfect for my Elizabeth Western. It's almost the same as the model stitch. And I'm like, if I can bring myself to stitch on that, then this will be the perfect fabric in the perfect colour. But like I say, it is 40 count and it will require magnification because there's no chance that I'm going to be able to stitch on this without my magnification, but it is the perfect colour. So yeah, now that I've shown it to you, because everything's in my big trusty basket over here, so everything in the basket, basically it all goes in here until I've shown you, and then it can get put away. So everything's been sitting in this basket for a while and I haven't had the chance to actually look to see exactly what size fabric I need for Elizabeth Western. But if it will fit on that, I think we will be going for a third time lucky new start. I just can't say that I'm thrilled about the fact that it could be a 40 count fabric that I'm going to be stitching it on. So there is that. What else have I got? So, as part of the round the table sort of pass the parcel thing, I had ordered some stuff for that. Unfortunately, we have an issue with our post here, and for some reason everything is taking forever to get to me. And although I ordered it in good time, it didn't turn up in time. So I had no choice but to use some of my stash to make up my parcel. And would you believe it? The day after I arrived at the Essex Needles retreat, the parcel turned up. But what I did do as part of the parcel thing was that I ordered stuff for other people, but then because I was ordering for other people, I sort of might have ordered a few more bits for me as well. So yeah, what can I say? What can I say? Now, I think someone gifted this to me, and although I should remember, my brain is not engaged right now to remind me of who gifted this to me, but someone gifted this to me. Oh, I might have got it off the D-stash table. Did I get it off? No, I didn't get it off the D-stash table. I can't remember now. But anyway, you know that I quite like the drawn threads, and this one was quite apt. It's called The Kitchen Garden by the Drawn Thread. So So I have this lovely chart. Also, there was the Puntini Dog Lovers. Of course, I'm a dog lover with all the doggy joy that we have in this house. So I got this. So the only thing I need to get is the little buttons. I can always sub those out for other buttons. So love that. Whilst I was on a bit of a spending spree, and I think, I can't remember whether it was Marnie's mixed bag or I think it was Marnie's mixed bag. I picked up a tacky bob, or tacky bill as they're now called, for my beading, because I can never have too many of those. I've been sitting here chatting away to myself for the last half hour thinking that I was talking to you, only to find that I got to the end of the video and I thought, yay, I'm done. I just got to quickly whiz all this together and then upload, only to find that actually the recording has stopped. So yeah, I've just talked to myself for half an hour. Where was I? Back to the products that I'd purchased that didn't make it in time. So the other ones that I'd picked up, and like I say, I'd picked up stuff for other people, but because of course I was shopping, I ended up buying for myself because it would be rude not to. But these are the other ones. So we've got Puntini. When I think of Halloween, here it is. I think I'd got that for somebody else. I think that was part of what was supposed to have been in the gift. Also, I purchased, this one was for me. So this is the Primrose Cottage Stitches I Would Rather Be Stitching, which I think is one of the Expo charts. I think. Don't quote me on it. So I picked up that one. This one I think was one of the ones that I was going to gift. It's the Puntini Full Trio 2023. Here it is. And it comes with all of the little pins in the back. I love that one. Good job, it's now mine. And finally, the Heart in Hand Halloween Tiny Town. I've got another one of these, which I haven't got to yet, but again, it's a nice one to have. I'd like to think that I could finish it and get one stitched. So there is that as well. So they were the purchases that I'd purchased for myself and for the gift, which never made it. So they're now all mine and they can go into my stash. What else was there? At the Essex Needles Retreat, we had a lovely lady. She's new to the retreat, called Jess Gets Stitching. And she had various things. And one of the things that I purchased off of that was her Q-snap covers. So I bought myself this lovely blue one. I got a Halloween-ish one. It's got like crows and cauldrons on it. And I picked up another flowery one. And because I'm doing a lot more train stitching, these are perfect. And I'm not always using my frames these days. I'm sometimes reverting to Q-snaps just for ease, because I can take it upstairs, bring it downstairs, take it on the train. So I have those. Gifts. I received a wonderful surprise gift in the post from a lovely lady by the name of Tanya. I think that's her name, Tanya. Completely unexpected. Didn't see it coming. And wow, people, what can I say? I was wowed. So she has made me this beautiful project bag. She says, get the fluff off of it. Would you look at that? And that there looks like it's been hand stitched. I'm sure it's been hand stitched. It's gorgeous. Such a beautiful little bit of detail. Beautiful inside. Beautifully made. And with that one, there is also a matching accessories bag. Again, with a little stitched bit at the bottom. How gorgeous is that? And inside there, there's this little 𝙬𝙝𝙖𝙥𝙥𝙚. So it's all matching. It's a little 𝙬𝙝𝙥 catcher. How cute is that? And you'll know that the lovely Susie gave me her prototype one of those. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Now, I'm not sure whether Tanya has got an actual Etsy store or a shop, but there's a little card in there that says Crafty Fox. So I'll need to check Etsy and see whether she's got an Etsy site or whether it's a Facebook site or something along that lines. But gorgeous. I've been waiting to use this, but obviously I can't use any of it until, because everything goes in my little basket here. I've been waiting to use this so that I could actually use it, but I had to do the video first so I could show you. So I have that with its matching accessories, and then as well as that, she also done me another one. Here it is. Again, all matching. Love, love, love. So now I can finally get rid of some of my plastic ones that are up above me here, and put these to good use. So Tanya, thank you so, so much. I didn't even see it coming, but they are absolutely wonderful and so, so well made. Thank you so, so much. So as I'm sort of re-recording this bit, I can't remember whether I've shown you this. So I'm going to re-record it again just in case I didn't. But I have been trying to reinvigorate my stitching via a floss tube, and yeah, it works. It makes me want to do the stitching. I just don't really get the time. But one of the channels that I have not been able to help myself but to not binge watch but spend a lot of time watching and get totally enabled is JBW Designs. So she is a total enabler because she shares themes. That she always tries to do a theme on her videos. But when she does, it just, yeah, it makes me want to buy all the things. So I might have gone on a bit of a purchasing spree because I saw these, and you know how much I'm just thinking, oh yeah, I've got all the time in the world to do my perforated paper sledges. Well, she showed some sledges which weren't perforated paper, but she showed how you finish them, and she also spray painted the little sledges. So I went on a bit of a further purchasing spree, she says, buying more sledges. So I've got large sledges and I've got small sledges. So I've got 3 little sledges. Sorry about the crinkling. And then I've got 3 of the larger sledges. But because she showed them on her channel and I was bowled over, I got totally enabled and was like, they're so sweet. They look pretty quick to stitch up. I could give those, she says, although they're still sitting in a pile. So it is the JBW Little Red Sledges. These ones. How gorgeous are they? And I also got the Sledging Snowman. And I also picked up the Sledging Santa. Thinking to myself, once I finish my other sledges, I can do some of these for either myself or family. I don't see it happening. I'd like to think that I might be able to get some of these stitched up ahead of next Christmas, because I'm saying that all of a sudden I might get a complete and utter stitch on. Who knows? But currently, no, that's not going to happen. But it would be nice. It would be nice to get these done. So I have those at the ready. But again, I think it might just be that they're going into stash for now until such times as I get around to stitching on them. I might have done a little bit more shopping today whilst feeling rough in bed, because I was watching JBW Designs. She was talking about just coming back. I think she'd been to Portugal, and she was doing a new Christmas theme thing, and she may have shown, I think it was called the reindeer stocking or something, which was all one colour, and I was like, I might have to get something like that. So yeah, that might be shown on the next video. So that is it really from the stuff. I mean, this is it. I mean, I might have not done much stitching, but there's been plenty of stuff to share with you and show you. I've got all the things. I just need some time is the thing. You've probably seen Bonbons floating about. So as you may have already guessed, Bonbons is now out of Alcatraz. She went in on, I think it was Friday the 6th of October and went and got another set of x-rays done. We got great news. So the bones are fused lovely. So she's not needing to be confined. To be honest, it's a good job they said that, because we sort of unconfined her anyway, because she was actually likely to do herself more damage being confined than she was not confined. She had this really naughty behaviour where she'd worked out that if she jumped up and down in the crate enough, we would all go running for the crate and get her out straight away, because she would just bounce up and down. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. But obviously she's in the crate. You can't stop her from doing that. So we've basically released her from Alcatraz. So she's no longer caged. She's not like a caged animal. But in doing that, although she's not racing around the house like a loon, which is what we're suppressing, we can't exactly play with her, because she's a ball player. She loves to play ball, whether it be indoors or outdoors. She chases things. She doesn't play tug or anything like that. She chews a little bit on chew toys, but again, not overly interested in that. So it's all about running. So of course we're not playing with her. So we're giving her snuffle mats to try and keep her a bit more occupied. But the one thing that we are, well, it's impossible. It's almost 100% impossible is to stop her jumping on things. So she has this awful habit where she just stands in front of the chair, and then within a second before you can even get to her, she's already jumped up onto the chair. The same on the sofa. She seems to do like a little hop. So I'm like, well, I can't imagine that's doing too much damage. But at the end of the day, I can't stop her. She's like a little opportunist. Even when you go to pick her up, before you've even got your hands around her to pick her up, and she knows you're going to pick her up, she still just jumps up. So as much as we're trying to stop her from jumping, she does insist on doing it. Going out in the garden, again, we don't just let her run out there. We hold on to her, let Honey out first. Honey goes bounding off down the garden. And then when you let Bonbons go, as long as you don't let them out both at the same time, she just sort of does a leisurely trot out there and then sort of bounces about a little bit in the garden. So things are easier. Things are easier with the Bonbons. It's definitely 100% better than it was. She's still doing her physio, so they've given us some physio to do. Walking is still an issue, and it's even more of an issue now because she's been caged for so long and not been allowed to do anything. She gets so excited to go out that the walk is a total nightmare. But we're sort of trying to persevere with her. So we still take the buggy, but we let her walk for 10 minutes, and then she goes in the buggy, and then we finish the walk with Honey. The physio team said that she could do 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening, but it's finding the time to walk them for twice a day. I mean, I've left here by 6:30 latest in the morning, so I don't have time to take her in the morning. And by the time I'm getting home at night, that's really the only walk that she can go on. So we're making sure that she gets her 10 minutes in the evening, and then obviously we try and do other things with her and do her physio type exercises in the evening. So, but in all honesty, she acts like there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's as if it doesn't even exist. It's never a problem for her. She squeaked a couple of times when Honey's accidentally sat on her. But other than that, she seems to be totally fine. She's still rocking the punk rocker look with half her fur missing on one side from her bum, her leg. So it looks a bit funny. But we're hoping that now she can go to the doggy groomers to go and get a bath, get her nails clipped, try and tidy up the fur a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to say to the lady, can you make her look okay? Because I don't want to shave all her fur off so that she matches all the way through. Because eventually that fur on her leg and her back, on her bottom, that will all come back. So I might just sort of say, can you just sort of make the fur that she's got a little bit less so that it sort of matches a bit more, because it's just, yeah, she looks like someone attacked her with a set of shaving clippers on one side at the moment. But she is doing well. Mum, on the other hand, is not doing so well. We're having some issues with Mum. She's got issues with her shoulders, issues with her hands, and issues with her wrists, which is making it really problematic for her, because she's relied very heavily on her top half of her body, because her hips and her back are shot. So she really struggles on her feet. The fact that the weather has took a turn here in the UK, that probably has had an impact. But yeah, we're having some challenges with Mummy. She's being as positive as can be, given that she's suffering and she's in quite a lot of pain. But it's a work in progress, unfortunately. But yeah, so it's like we lose one problem and we gain another. So it's never ending circle, isn't it? But hey, Mum is, you know, as long as there's football on, and with Lauren's doing her HelloFresh dinners for her to keeping her like on good, healthy, wholesome foods. Yeah, my mum is grinning and bearing it, but she's doing it with a stiff upper lip, because that's the sort of mummy I've got. What else to tell you? So I am going off to another retreat. I've got one final actual weekend retreat, which I think is, she says, when is it? The 20th to the 22nd of October. So this coming weekend. I've made the executive decision that I am not going to record at that retreat. Now, I know I normally do, and I always do, but I'm going to be a little bit selfish this time, because I'm getting so little stitching done of my own that I'm like, do you know what? It's about time I went to a retreat and sat and stitched. So that is my plan. My plan is that I am going to sit and stitch for the whole weekend. I mean, I may do a finishing table video to add to my next video, but I'm not going to do the stitching around the room this time round, purely because it takes so much time. I mean, basically it's almost like a whole day's worth of recording to go around the room, so that no one gets missed out, and we get to see everybody. You can't do like a bit of the room, you have to do all of the room. It's not fair to do some without the others. But it takes up so much time, and I've decided this retreat, since it's the last one of the year, I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm just gonna sit and stitch. And the fact that it's not my, like, you know, it's not mine and Ellie's retreat, there's the need to sort of do all the things isn't there. I mean, no doubt I will still sit and chat to people and go round the room and, you know, go and see all the goodies. The plan is that I'm going to try and sit and do stitching for most of the weekend, just because I'm not really achieving much of my own stitching, and this is the perfect opportunity to do that. So that is my plan for this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping that whatever I've got at the moment will be gone by the time I get there, because otherwise that won't be a good weekend. And then the only other stitchy type retreat thing is I've got a stitching day in November with the Essex Needles retreat. It's just a day, so it's just the Saturday, but it'll be great. I think we do a Christmas dinnery type thing, and it's just a day, so it's not like a whole weekend thing. And then that is it for the end of this year. It'll all be over, and we'll be in 2024, and I'm hoping 2024 is an easier year than 2023, because it's been a hard year this year. So that is me done for this month. I just needed to make sure that I did this video so that I could show you all the things, check in with you all, let you know that I am still here. I might not be stitching much, but I'm doing titty bit, but I'm still managing to get some done. I'm hopeful that I'll be more productive in the next month is the plan. So I hope you're well. I hope you're all enjoying your autumnal weather. I hope fall is happening wherever you are. And until next time, people, bye bye for now.